Hi everyone, this is Paul Stewart from Segmented Solutions. I'm going to be talking to you today about research and development tax credits and how you can benefit from claiming them. But I wanted to introduce our partners in this, PCL Reclaim Limited. They have an R&D tax expert who is going to be working directly with you to identify what you can claim and how much you can claim. And we'll be picking up on the report writing to HMRC and assisting your accounting professionals in completing the tax returns correctly. So without further ado, what on earth are research and development tax claims and how can you benefit from them? We are going to be talking about how SASSes can help too, SASSes being self-administered pension schemes. And as with all our videos, don't forget, nothing should be taken as formal advice. This is just for information purposes only. So why are there research and development tax credits available to people? Well, basically, the British government wants to support UK business because UK business is fantastic at investing into things to generate potential value for the future. So let's have a look and find out what the benefits are. First of all, research and development costs can be used to claim enhanced tax reliefs, which can be offset against profits in the current and also previous and future years. So there's a tax benefit immediately if you're trading and you're making profit. Those enhanced reliefs can also be surrendered for an upfront cheque from HMRC, which also helps when no profit's being made, or indeed where you wish to benefit cash flow by receiving monies into the bank. So that's a quick introduction. Let's have a little look at what exactly R&D means. So the first thing we need to work out is what exactly is R&D, and it's not just about scientists working in a laboratory, although to be fair, if you are a scientist and you are working in a laboratory, there's a fair chance that what you're doing qualifies. People who are in engineering, be that software or hardware or building, people who are overcoming difficulties or doing things in different ways, their work qualifies as research and development. And HMRC have written a little bit of blurb which says it's not just for white coat science, it's also for brown coat development. Even if you're using science and technology to duplicate an existing process, but you're doing it in a new way. And PCL Claim Limited, they have an expert in R&D tax credit claims who will talk with you to establish what it is that you do, and out of the things you do, are there things that you're doing that qualify for R&D? So that's why there's a bit of teamwork going on. The expert at PCL will be talking with you to define if you're doing something, and if you are, how much you're spending on it. And then I pick up the slack in terms of writing a report to HMRC and so on and so forth. So what exactly are enhanced losses when it comes to research and development? In a normal situation, you've got income and expenditure, and you pay tax on the profit, which is the difference between the two. However, if you've got R&D expenses as opposed to normal expenses, some mathematics is applied to your expenditure to make that expenditure bigger, which in accounting terms means that you've got less profit and therefore you pay less tax. However, not all businesses have income and expenditure where they are paying tax. You may not have any income. So let's have a look at the situation of what happens when you've got no income at all. Well, in simple terms, you've got no income, but you do have expenses. Therefore, you have trading losses, which are normally carried forward and forwards and forwards until such time as you start to generate an income. However, if your expenses qualify for research and development claims, those expenses are enhanced and made bigger, and then you can swap them in for a cheque. So you can physically get money back from HMRC, even although you haven't paid any tax. And that's one of the most important benefits for people. And they can choose as well. Even if you are earning income, you can choose to get a cheque back from the revenue, which helps with cash flow and other things. So let's have a look at some of the numbers and what this means. Example number one. We've got a company that have made £500,000 of profits, and that's after £100,000 of expenses. And normally that would result in £95,000 of corporation tax. However, if an expert came along and said that those £100,000 of expenses qualified for R&D, the claim would be made, and after the claim, the corporate tax bill would reduce from £95,000 down to £70,300. So just by looking into what you do and filling in a report and getting that off to HMRC, In this particular case, there's an extra £24,700 of tax relief available, which is not to be sniffed at and something that an expert will be able to discover quite quickly by talking with you. Second example, this is for £500,000 of losses, but it also includes £100,000 of expenses. To begin with, you'd normally have your £500,000 of losses, and those would be carried forward until such time as you started to make profits. However, with an R&D claim, you have an enhanced loss. So instead of £500,000 of losses, you now have £630,000 of losses, and you can actually swap £230,000 of those for a cheque of £33,350, meaning that you can carry forward £400,000 into the future. So in this particular case, you've actually benefited to the tune of £33,350 of cash paid pretty quickly back into your bank account. So moving on, what is a SAS and how can it help? Well, the terminology SAS stands for Small Self-Administered Pension Scheme, and unlike personal schemes, this is an occupational scheme, and it's set up by the company, and the sponsoring or principal employer sets it up for current future directors and current future employees. And you can have multiple members joining the SAS. So if you've got a business with 4 directors and they're all married, you can have 8 members in the SAS because partners and spouses can be involved, as well as children as well. So there's a fair amount of tax planning that can be done with regards to having family members join in with your very own self-administered pension scheme. And the pension scheme can accept incoming transfers as well as both employer and employee contributions. And they're very useful things, and there's a whole masterclass of videos available to watch, and I'll put a link to those underneath this video. So let's have a look at how a SAS can help. First of all, the trading company makes an R&D claim and its corporate tax liability is going to be reduced. And those savings can be used to fund and pay for a SAS, which reduces the profits even more because the funding and establishment costs are also business expenses. So if we use the full £24,700 from our previous example, it would trigger a further £4,693 reduction in corporate tax. And then after that, you can do all sorts of things. Again, if you have a look at our SAS planning masterclass videos, give you some good ideas. So let's have a look at the claims process. How does it work between PCL and Segmented Solutions? Well, first of all, PCL have their own R&D tax expert who will talk with you to identify what activities you do could qualify for R&D, but also to quantify how much you're allowed to claim. That's a really important part of the process. Then all that information gets passed over to us at Segmented Solutions, and we write a report on your behalf to HMRC which says this is what you're claiming, whether you want to have a reduction in your profits for later on or whether you want a check sent to you. We also help you fill out the forms on your CT600, so a bit of teamwork going on. We're both experts in R&D tax credit claims. I've done a number of them personally myself, but it's good to team up with PCL because their R&D expert is really good at talking and identifying what qualifies. So I do paperwork and they do the identification. It's good to work together. So there you go, R&D tax claims experts, PCL and Segmented Solutions. And as you can see at the bottom here, I've got a web page that I've put together which has got this video on, plus some notes on R&D claims. And it's also got the 4 videos, which is a SAS planning masterclass for you free of charge to have a look at. And we look forward to helping you. Thank you. Bye-bye.